Okay, hi, this is Jimmie here, Shirtless Guy here. This is another instruction video. You told me to do one. I was requested from a commenter to talk about the circle of fifths, but I thought about it and you can't really talk about the circle of fifths, at least I can't, without talking about scales and arpeggios. So I'm calling this Jimmie discusses scales, arpeggios, and a circle of fifths. So hang on with me. Maybe if you guys can learn something and maybe I'll have fun teaching. Anyway, okay. First, let me start by saying that scales are made up from arpeggios, at least diatonic scales are. By diatonic, I mean 7-note scales. So there's two main types of diatonic scale. There's major scales and minor scales. But both of these two types of scales are based from certain combinations of major and minor triads. So for this first let's talk about major scales, and then first of all, what triads major scales come from. Well, first of all, major scales come from any diatonic scale is based on three arpeggios or three chords. That's why Jimmie Page calls it the three-chord trick. In the case of major scales, the three chords are all major, and they are the tonic, dominant, and subdominant, or 1, 4, and 5. And all these three chords or arpeggios, three-chord trick or three arpeggio trick, are major. And the definition of a major triad is root, major third, and then perfect fifth above the root. Or you can think of it as a major third and then a minor third on top of the major third, which makes a perfect fifth. And then you can think of it as a perfect fourth above the perfect fifth to make the octave. And then there's three of these, the 1, 4, and 5, tonic, dominant, and subdominant, to make a major scale. So let's say that we're in the key of B. I'm going to play a B major. So to make a B major scale, you play a B major triad. That's this. A little loud there. And then you play the 4 triad, which is an E major triad. Then you play the 5 triad, which is an F sharp major triad. You put those 3 triads together, you get a B major scale. The notes are just all right there. So arpeggiated, you could be the scale for that is B major, which is. So whatever key you're in, that's the formula. Therefore, if you're an E major, then it would be A major, B major, and then that would make an E major scale. And whatever. And then there's 12 notes in a chromatic scale, therefore there's 12 possible major scales. Then there's the other type of diatonic scale. Main type is minor scales, and the main type of minor scale is a harmonic minor scale. Now, then let's start with the natural minor scale. Is just the 3 triads that are all minor, tonic, dominant, subdominant, or 1, 4, 5, that are all minor. That the problem with this is it just sounds like a mode of a major scale. It sounds like you're playing Aeolian mode. It doesn't bring out the minor tonality of the key very well. So what they do to make it come out better is to make the dominant chord major, which makes, and since the major third in the dominant chord is based on the 5th note of the scale, and since the major third defines the major or minorness of that of a chord, then the tone that defines the majorness of the dominant chord or 5 chord is the 7th note in the scale, which is since in harmonic minor this dominant chord is major. That means that in a harmonic minor scale you have a major 7th. So it's like a harmonic minor scale is therefore a natural minor scale with a major 7th. Basically, what it is. You can look at it as it's a minor scale which borrows the dominant from the major scale. So, or you can think of it as a major scale that borrows the tonic and the subdominant from the minor scale, which is another way of looking at it. If you guys can get that or not, if maybe it goes over the head. But then let's take an example. Let's say you're in A minor. Okay, for A natural minor, you would play A minor triad, which is root, minor third, and then major third above that, which makes a perfect fifth, and then possibly a perfect fourth above that, perfect fifth to make the octave. So, so for A minor, would be the tonic chord would be, or arpeggio would be A minor. In the 4 arpeggio would be also minor, which would be D minor. And then in A natural minor, the 5 triad arpeggio would be a E minor. That would be this. And then therefore you would get an A natural minor scale, which would just be based on, and it would give you this. It would give you, that doesn't sound very minor. It sounds like it could be just the 6th mode of a major scale, in this case a C major scale. So let's make the dominant triad, in this case was E minor. Let's make that E major, which would give you a G sharp in there, because the third of E major, the major third of an E major arpeggio is G sharp. And then since G is the 7th note in an A minor scale, then the G sharp would therefore would be the major 7th in the minor key. So then therefore we would have A minor, then D minor, then E major, and of course we're still would sound like, that sounds much more minor-y. In this case A minor, so you would get this scale. There you have it. And that would be the harmonic minor scale, in this case A. Let's say if you were in C, you want to do C harmonic minor, you would take C minor, then F minor, then G major, to C minor. That would give you the C harmonic minor scale, which would be this. In the chromatic scale, there's 12 harmonic minor scales, just like there were 12 major scales. And so the classical people would often do 2 pieces that were 24 caprices or 24 etudes or whatever, that would be 12 minor keys and 12 major keys. In other words, you'd play a set of pieces that are every single one's in a different key, and you cover every possible key between major and minor. Since there's 12 major keys possible and 12 minor keys possible, you'd have 24 different pieces, and that's why the Paganini head is 24 caprices. Everyone's in a different key. Half of them are major, half of them are minor, 12 of each, make 24. Okay, but we're not done yet. I wish we were. That'd be nice. So now we know the structure. We know where harmonic minor and major scales come from and how many of them there are and this and that. Okay, but then there's another side to this. Is what about the notes that you don't play when you play a major scale, or that are in the 12 chromatic scale notes possible? Another way of looking at that is the white and black keys on the piano. When you play the white keys, you're playing C major. What about the black keys? They're all the notes you don't play when you play a major scale, and which in this case is the white keys. So in other words, the notes you don't play when you play major scale make a pentatonic scale. Therefore, if I play C major scale, then E flat minor pentatonic scale is all the other notes that aren't in the C major scale but that are in the chromatic scale. And some people call this complementary scales. If they're the total of the notes in the 2 scales make the chromatic scale. So in this case, so if I play C major scale, the E flat, that's the white keys. The black keys are E flat minor pentatonic scale or G flat major pentatonic scale, and then since there's 7 key notes in a diatonic scale and 5 notes in a pentatonic scale, there's 7 and 5 make 12, and that's how many notes there are in a chromatic scale. So now the other option that we have to look at now is pentatonic scales. So that I've introduced them just now. Let's talk about those in particular, and then we're going to go to the circle of fifths, and then this lecture will be done. I'll be as happy as you, believe me. But I am enjoying it. It's kind of cool. So let's talk about pentatonic scales. First of all, you have the minor pentatonic scale and the major pentatonic scale. It's not that simple, though, because you can also add a note to either one of those to make a blues version of either of those scales. In the case of the minor pentatonic scale, you add the flat 5th note, which makes it a minor blues scale, or often just called a blues scale. Technically, it should be called the minor blues scale, though, because there's a major version, too. Then you have the major pentatonic scale, and technically the note you can add to that is the minor 3rd, which makes a major blues scale. Oof. So you got major pentatonic scale, major blues scale, minor pentatonic scale, minor blues scale. the pentatonic versions of major, either major or minor, are 5 notes. Then the blues versions are 6 because you're adding 1 note to it. So let's say I'm in E flat minor pentatonic. That would be this. Let's say add a flat 5 note to that. That would make an E flat minor blues scale. All right, that's simple, not too bad. And then there's the major version. The major pentatonic scale is a minor pentatonic scale starting on the minor third, or you could think of it as a minor pentatonic scale, a minor third below the root that you're playing the major pentatonic scale on. Let's look at it both ways. So if I'm on E flat minor pentatonic, the relative major scale to that would be G flat major pentatonic scale, which would be all right, and that would be the G flat major pentatonic scale, and then the G flat major blues scale would be at a minor third to that. Now this is a little tricky because I don't usually practice this too much, but let's try it. Okay, let me see if we get this straight on my fingers here. Okay, here we go. That could be better. Let's see about try this. Let's see, go like that. Major. Alright, here we go. Here we go now. There we go. So that would be, and that would be the relative major blues scale of the E flat minor blues scale. Let's do that again. So, and then the other way of looking at it is you could play the parallel major pentatonic scale to the E flat minor pentatonic scale, which in this case would be a C minor pentatonic scale, but played with the root as E flat. Whew. So let's say first back to the E flat minor pentatonic scale, E flat minor blues scale. Now the parallel major pentatonic scale to that would be simply C minor pentatonic scale, but with the root on E flat, which would be okay. And that's a lot more comfortable for me, at least. It's more rock and roll. It's more used in rock and roll. They say that if you start with a minor pentatonic scale, just play the minor pentatonic scale 3 frets down, and now you're playing the parallel major pentatonic scale. Even though somehow they call that the relative, it's that inaccurate. Actually, it's the parallel major pentatonic scale you get when you play the minor pentatonic a minor third down, because from the original root you're getting the same root note, but major pentatonic instead of minor pentatonic, or major instead of minor blues. So let's go for this one more time. E flat minor pentatonic scale, E flat minor blues scale, and then the parallel major version, E flat major pentatonic scale, and then now E flat major blues scale. That's a lot easier because it doesn't require a different finger shape, whereas the other one did. When I went up here, I had to go. This time I just had to go. That's very common in rock music, because when I'm getting off track here, but let me just go for it anyway. In blues, you can play major and minor at the same time on the same root. For instance, in the blues scale, in blues, you have major harmony, because you have dominant seventh chords which have a major third, but then you have minor melody because you have minor pentatonic scale or minor blues scale that go over that. There's a good interplay between major and minor in blues music, and therefore you can play. If I'm in A blues, I can play A minor pentatonic, or I can play A major pentatonic, which is just F sharp minor pentatonic with the root on A, or I can play a minor blues scale, or the F sharp major blues scale, which is just an F sharp minor blues scale, but with the root on A. It's very common in blues. Ironically, though, if you play a minor triad, like an A minor, and try playing an A major scale over it to play, in other words, if you have minor harmony and play a major scale in the melody over that, it doesn't sound good. But if you have major scale harmony and play a minor third melody over it, it sounds good. I don't know why that is. I'm not sure if anybody does. It's just the truth. And one good example of, I'm going off track, but I'll get back to the point, and very quickly even, is Cream with Sunshine of Your Love. It's the solo is actually in D, but he plays D. Eric plays D minor pentatonic, but then he also plays B minor pentatonic, but with the root being on D, which makes it D major pentatonic scale. And it's very interesting. That's D minor pentatonic. Then that's B minor pentatonic, which is also D major pentatonic. Then he does the cool thing with the B minor blues scale, which is also D major blues scale, which is, that's really cool. He's playing the minor third of the B minor major pentatonic scale, which makes it it makes it also a, let me think about that, which makes it also a D major blues scale. Oof. So in other words, he's playing a B minor blues scale, but it also is a D major blues scale. So there we go. That's the D major blues scale, or B minor blues scale, if you look at it that way. And then back to D minor pentatonic or D minor blues scale. Kind of thing. I missed a couple, but the thing is that the interplay between the D minor pentatonic and the D major pentatonic, i.e. B minor pentatonic, and B minor blues scale and B major blues scale or B minor blues scale is very, very, very cool and clever and hard to do in diatonic thinking. And even though if you mix the two notes together, you can get a composite scale. Some people call it mixodorian. In other words, you have a Dorian with a major third added, or mix it in with a minor third added, so you have an 8-note scale. But then you can add the flat 5 to make it even a 9-note scale. Now they call it composite blues scale. By then you got so many notes, it's hard to juggle it, and it doesn't even sound good altogether. But if you separate it between minor and major, and do one or the other, but not both at the same time, it sounds really good. Now, the circle of fifths. I said all that to get to this point. Bear with me. This is the fun part of the whole thing to me, some of it. Well, that was good too, but this is the person that commented wanted me to talk about the circle of fifths. Here I go. Now, remember you have two types of scales. You got diatonic and pentatonic, and you have major and minor in both. Well, I'm going to focus on the major diatonic scale when I talk about the diatonic scale. I'm going to focus on the minor pentatonic scale when I talk about the pentatonic scale. It just works out that way for me better. I don't know why. If I talk about the harmonic minor scale diatonically, and I talk about the major pentatonic scale, things get really kind of, whoa, what he's talking about. But if I say major diatonic scale and minor pentatonic scale, it seems to work. I don't know. I guess when you call it C major as the white keys, you don't say A minor as well as you say C major. Then when you say E flat minor pentatonic scale in the black keys, that sounds better than G flat major pentatonic scale in the black keys, even though, and I'm not sure why, but even though they're both similar, both equivalent if you think of it that way. So now let's talk about major diatonic scale first, and then I'm talking about monopentatonic in a second. So let's say a major diatonic scale. I'm going to start with the white keys, no sharps and flats. That would be C major scale, or C major diatonic scale. And this is it. Now here's where the circle of fifths comes in. Let's say, this is clever too, I mean, whoever made the scale, whoever made music is clever. If I have C major scale, and I start that scale on F, I get an F Lydian mode, don't I? Here's C major. Now if I start the C major scale on F, I get F Lydian. But F Lydian has a sharp in it. In this case, B is the sharp 4 or sharp fourth in the key of F. So since F Lydian has a sharp note, to make it F major, you have to flat a note in it. So therefore, if I go up a fourth, which is F, and play major scale, I'm flattening one of the notes. So that's why when you go the circle of fifths, C to F is a fifth down, not because it's a fourth up. Therefore, it's a fifth down, and a fifth down is F, because a fifth down below C is F, and that's a flat. So if I play, if C major is no sharps, no flats, F is one flat. Because, and then if I play the F major scale, that's the C major scale with one flat, because I'm playing major instead of Lydian, so there's a flat in there. So going up a fourth, which is down a fifth. Since I'm talking about the fifths, circle fifths, I'll say down a fifth. Down a fifth is flat. Up a fifth, let's see what up a fifth is. Well, now back to the C major scale. If I go up a fifth, I get G, but what's G? In C major scale, if I play up a fifth to G, I get G mixed Lydian. And since G mixed Lydian has a flat in it, if I want to play G major, I have to sharp one of the notes, which means that if you go up a fifth, you have to play one sharp. Therefore, from up a fifth, from C to G, if you play a G major scale, that's one sharp. So if you go up a fifth in diatonic scales, you play a sharp, you sharpen one of the notes. If you go down a fifth in major scales, you flatten one of the notes. So if I play the G major scale, I get this. Since that has a flat, and I mean that has a sharp in it, because the C major scale played starting in G was G mixed Lydian. Therefore, to play a G major scale, you sharp one of the notes. So G major scale is one sharp. F, that's this. F major scale is one flat. And C major scale is no sharps or flats. So that's the rule. If it's circle of fifths, the circle of fifths, it starts on C like a clock, and then if you go clockwise, it's C, G. So G would be one sharp. If you play G major scale, it's one sharp. Then it's D. A fifth above G is D. That would be two sharps. Then A is a fifth above D, which would be three sharps. Then E would be a major third above C, and that's four sharps. Then B would be a major seventh above C. That would be five sharps. And then F sharp would be augmented fourth above C, which would be six sharps, or it could be a diminished fifth above C, which would be six flats. That would be G flat. So F sharp has six sharps, G flat has six flats. The key there is it's the number of sharps and the number of flats that denote a key always equal 12. So if I'm in the key of F sharp, which is also G flat, F sharp has six sharps, G flat has six flats, and 6 is 12. It works out that way. And then if I keep going, I get to the sharps, I get C sharp, which is a fifth above F sharp, which would be seven sharps, which incidentally is also five flats, because C sharp is also D flat, and D flat has five flats. Whereas the B was five sharps, because it's because D has 5 sharps because it's a major seventh above C, but also B is also C flat, and C flat has 7 flats, and 7 and 5 make 12. B is 5 sharps, C flat is 7 flats. They're both the same note. 7 and 5 make 12. Ooh. Now the flat direction. If I start on C, if I go flatward, I go C to F. That's a major fifth. I mean, that's a perfect fifth down from C. F would be 1 flat. Then from F, B flat. That would be a fifth below F, and that would be B flat would be 2 flats. And then from B, E flat would be the next one. E flat would be 3 flats, and then A flat would be the next one. That's 4 flats. Then A flat, A, B, C, D flat is the next one, and that's 5 flats, which is also C sharp, which is 7 sharps. And then the next one is G flat, which would be 6 flats, but G flat is also F sharp, and G flat is 6 flats, and F sharp is 6 sharp, so that 7, 6, and 6 make 12. And the next one is C flat, which is 7 flats, but C flat is also B, and B is 5 sharps, and C flat is 7 flats, and 7 and 5 make 12. So there's your circle of fifths. Starting on C, 0 sharps, 0 flats, all the way across clockwise to 1 sharp, 2 sharps, 3 sharps, 4 sharps, 5 sharps, 6 sharps, 7 sharps. 5, 6, and 7 overlap, because then you start on C again. 1 flat, 2 flats, 3 flats, 4 flats, 5 flats, 5 flats, 6 flats, 7 flats. But 3 of them overlap because the 5 flats is 7 sharps, the 6 flats is 6 sharps, and the 7 flats is 5 sharps. Just like when you go counterclockwise, the 5 sharps is 7 flats, the 6 flats is 6 sharps, and the 7 flats is 5 sharps. So the three keys that have 2 ways of looking at it are the F sharp G flat, 6 sharps, 6 flats, B C flat, which is 5 sharps, 7 flats, and then C sharp D flat, which is 7 sharps, 5 flats. Okay, so that is the circle of fifths with diatonic chord scales, which I use major. I'm almost done. Now I'm going to do this doesn't get done. This next part is my own thinking. So I made this up, but I didn't really create it because it's already in music. I just discovered it, and no one's really put it in a book. That's all. What about the pentatonic scale, in which I'm going to use the minor? And what about the circle of fifths and that? Nobody ever talks about that, but it's important for me. I'm gonna instead of doing the black keys, which is E flat minor pentatonic or G flat major pentatonic, I'm gonna do the C minor pentatonic scale just for simplicity, because it makes it sound like we're talking about the same kind of thing. I'm gonna start with the C minor pentatonic scale, and technically that's I'm not gonna worry about how many flats or sharps that is, because there's only 5 notes in it. Let's just take it. A C minor pentatonic scale is my bass. That would be this. Now, try the flats and sharp idea again. This is where it's interesting, because what you're going to find is that the directions are reversed. In the C major diatonic scale, going up a fifth was a sharp key. Going down a fifth was a flat key. Well, in C minor pentatonic, going up a fifth is going to be a flat key, and going down a fifth is going to be a sharp key. That's very interesting. Whereas going up the circle of fifths is sharp direction in diatonic scale, like C major scale, diatonic scale. Going up in pentatonic or minor pentatonic is actually flat. And then going counterclockwise in diatonic scale, like C major scale, is flat keys, but going counterclockwise in the circle of fifths for minor pentatonic is actually sharp keys. Let's prove that, and then we're done. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but thanks for watching. So like I did before, C minor pentatonic, I'll forget about the blues for now, that's just adding that other note. C minor pentatonic scale. Now what if I go to F? I'm going to play a C minor pentatonic scale, but starting on F. What you'll notice is that is a C minor pentatonic scale with 1 flat note. which means if I sharpen it to make it a F minor pentatonic scale, I'm going to have a sharp. Therefore, since C to F is going counterclockwise on the circle of fifths, and I said that's sharp, then going counterclockwise on the circle of fifths for pentatonic scales is actually the sharp direction. So, and you're going to find that when you go clockwise, well, let's just find that when we get there. So if I play F minor pentatonic scale, that's actually a sharp version of that actually has one sharp more compared to the C minor pentatonic scale. Therefore, going up a fourth, which is down a fifth, is actually the sharp direction for pentatonics. So the direction of sharps and fifths is reversed for pentatonic versus diatonic. I know one thought of that for me, but it already was there in music. I just discovered it. So, so there you have it. And then so if I once again C minor pentatonic, C minor pentatonic starting on F. Now F minor pentatonic. Which I made a sharp to do that, so the F minor pentatonic is a C minor pentatonic scale with one sharp. Almost done. Now I'm going to do the G, the dominant part. Back to C minor pentatonic. If I play that on G, I'm going to get this. Let's see if I can do this. It's going to be but that is actually that actually has a sharp compared to the C minor pentatonic scale. Therefore, to make it a C minor pentatonic scale, I'm going to flat one of the notes to make a G minor pentatonic scale, which makes this. And since I flatted a note on the G minor pentatonic scale in perfect fifth above C, then that means when you go up a fifth in the pentatonics, you actually flat one of the notes instead of sharpen it. So let's try that. Make sure we know that again. C minor pentatonic. C minor pentatonic starting on G. Now flat one of the notes to make a G minor pentatonic scale. There you have it. So C minor pentatonic is no sharps, no flats. I'm going to call it that. I'm going to go the direction of the sharps this time. I'm going to say F minor pentatonic scale, which is the fifth down from C, is one sharp. I mean one flat. No, wait, let me think. One F. Yes, one sharp. I'm getting tired because when you go from C to F in the diatonic, you do a flat. So when you go to C to F in the pentatonic, you do a sharp. Let's start over. C minor pentatonic scale is no flats, no sharps. F minor pentatonic scale is one sharp. A fourth above that would be B flat minor pentatonic, which would be two sharps. And that actually works too. You can figure that out too. I'll do it right now just for simplicity. That's all right. That was C sharp. I mean to do C. Now that's B flat. That's C minor pentatonic starting on B flat. But if I make it a B flat minor pentatonic scale, I'm going to have to sharp two of the notes. And that works out perfectly. Then three sharps would be a fourth above the B flat, which would be E flat. So E flat minor pentatonic would have three sharps. And then fourth above that would be A flat minor pentatonic, which would have four sharps. And then a fourth above that would make D flat or C sharp. Let's call it C sharp minor pentatonic, which would be five sharps. This makes sense because if C minor pentatonic is no sharps, no flats, then F C sharp minor pentatonic is just all those notes sharp, which would be five sharps. You're sharpening every single note, so that would be five sharps. And then the fourth above that would be F sharp. That would be six sharps. I think of it as G flat. Minor pentatonic scale would be six flat. Then again, 6 and 6 make 12, and that's okay. Then above F sharp, the fourth would be B, and that would be seven 7 sharps, which makes sense because the C, if C minor pentatonic is all flatted, 5 notes flatted would make C flat have 5 flats. Therefore, B would be, the enharmonic version would be B, which would have 7 sharps, and 7 and 5 make 12. So B minor pentatonic scale is 7 sharps. Or you can think of it as C flat minor pentatonic scale, which is 5 flats and 7 sharps, 5 flats, 7 and 5 make 12. Now, I'm almost done. Now, for the flat direction, I go up the circle of fifths this time. So C minor pentatonic scale has 0 flats, 0 sharps. The fifth is G, which would be 1 flat. Up a fifth from that would be D minor pentatonic, which would be 2 flats, and that will work out. And then a fifth above that would be A minor pentatonic, which would be 3 flats. C, G, D, A. Yes, 3 flats. Let's figure out why that is. You know why that is? Because, let me see if I can figure this out. That's 3 flats, because he took from C to G, then G to D, then D to A is 3 flats. Then a fifth above the A would be E, which would be 4 flats. Fifth above the E would be B, which would be 5 flats, and that makes sense because you actually would be C flat minor pentatonic. If C is 0 flats, 0 sharps, C flat would be 5 flats, or if it's B, 7 sharps, and 7 and 5 make 12. And then from C flat or B, I'll call it B, up from there, up a fifth would be F sharp, but would be G flat minor pentatonic, which is 6 flats, but F sharp is also F sharp is also 6 sharps, and 6 and 6 make 12. So G flat minor pentatonic scale would be 6 flats. Which is also F sharp, which is 6 sharps, and 6 and 6 make 12, so it's all right. Finally, the G flat, a fifth above that would be C sharp. But I'm going to call it D flat in this case, because I'm working on flats. And therefore, D flat would be 7 flats. D flat minor pentatonic scale has 7 flats. That works because that wasn't D flat, was it? Okay, I was on G flat, which is right here. I want to go up a fifth, which is down a fourth, so I want to play D flat. So I played D just now. I'm at D flat. So D flat minor pentatonic scale is 7 flats. So that makes sense because D flat minor pentatonic is also C sharp minor pentatonic, and C sharp minor pentatonic would just be 5 sharps because it's all the notes are sharp. Therefore, D flat minor pentatonic scale is 7 sharps, and 7 and 5 make 12, so it evens out. So actually you got D. That would actually be yes. D flat is 7 flats, which enharmonically is C sharp, which is 5 sharps, and 7 and 5 make 12. So there you have it. Let's go through it again. Start on C minor pentatonic scale. If you go, this time I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna make it harder, but let's do it this way anyway. If I go from C, if I go up a fifth, I'm gonna go flat. That's 1 flat for pentatonic. So C minor pentatonic is no flats, no sharps. G minor pentatonic is 1 flat. D minor pentatonic is 2 flats. A minor pentatonic is 3 flats. E minor pentatonic is 4 flats. B minor pentatonic is 5 flats, which is also actually that would be C flat, which would be 5 flats, and then the B would be the equivalent of that would be 7 sharps. But anyway, right now I'm on C flat, which is 5 flats, The next one is C, D, E, F, G. Wait, that's C. That would be C flat. So C, D, E, F, G. Next is G flat. That's 6 flats, which is also set F sharp, which is 6 sharp. So that 6 and 6 make 12. And then from G flat, you get G, A, B, G, D, E, F. Wait, G, A, B, C. Wait, G flat, G, A, B, C, D. D flat. D flat minor pentatonic would be 7 flats, but that makes sense because the C sharp minor pentatonic is 5 sharps, and D flat minor pentatonic is 7 flats, so 7 and 5 make 12. So as you see, going counterclockwise on circle fifths for pentatonics was flats. Now I'm going to go counterclockwise to show that that's sharps, and then we're finished. Woo. So C, no sharps, no flats. Minor pentatonic scale, C minor pentatonic, no sharps, no flats. F minor pentatonic scale, 1 sharp. B flat minor pentatonic scale, 2 sharps. E flat minor pentatonic scale, 3 sharps. A flat minor pentatonic scale, 4 sharps. A, B, C, D flat minor pentatonic scale, 5 sharps, because D flat is also C sharp, and C sharp is of C sharp minor pentatonic is C with all the notes sharp. So that would be D flat would be, or actually would be, in this case, would be C sharp. But D flat is 5 sharps. Next is D, E, F, G, wait, D, E, F, G, A, wait, that's D flat. Now, wait, what did I call it? Yeah, I called it D flat, yes I did. D, E, F, G, A. No, that's up a fifth. I'm going down a fifth, that would be up a fourth. So D, E, F, G, next, that's it. G flat is 6 flats, but that's also F sharp. A minor pentatonic would be 6 sharps, and 6 and 6 make 12. So from D flat minor pentatonic, which is 5 flats, G flat minor pentatonic is 6 flats, but that's also F sharp minor pentatonic, which is 6 sharps, and that's 6 and 6 make 12. And then finally, from G flat, G, A, B, C flat minor pentatonic scale is 7 flats, which is also I said D, G, A, B, C. C flat is also B, which is B minor pentatonic scale is 7 sharps, and 7 and 5 make 12. So there you have it. Going counterclockwise on the circle of fifths for pentatonic scales, it makes sharps. Going clockwise on the circle of fifths for pentatonic scales makes flats. In contrast, going counterclockwise on diatonic scales makes flats, and going counterclockwise on diatonic scales makes sharps. So they go opposite directions. It's complementary that way. If it weren't that way, there would be like a yin and yang imbalance, because yin and yang balance each other out. And pentatonic and diatonic are like yin and yang, and major and minor are kind of like yin and yang within that. You have 4 possibilities. You have major diatonic, minor diatonic, major pentatonic, minor pentatonic. There's yin and yang between diatonic and pentatonic, and yin and yang between major and minor. So there's like 2 yin and yangs to make a foursome, and there's yin and yang all over the place, and they all kind of complement and all that. So I think we understood that. And don't forget that in the pentatonics, there's the 3 things that intertwine are from C minor pentatonic, no flats, no sharps. On the other opposite end, F sharp. Let's see if I get this right. I will. F sharp minor pentatonic is 6 sharps. G flat minor pentatonic is 6 flats, and 6 and 6 make 12. Then right to the right, that would be, let's say, B. Let me get this right, because B is C flat. Let's see. B minor pentatonic would be let's see, that goes this way is flat, and the B would be 7 flats. And the wait, is that right? B is 7 flats because because C flat is 5 flats. So I did it. B minor pentatonic is 7 flats. C flat minor pentatonic, which is also B minor pentatonic, is 5 flats, and 7 and 5 make 12. The other end on the left, you have let's see, it'd be let's let's see, let's do this. It would be C sharp and D flat. And I'm going to say that, let's see, that D flat minor pentatonic, which would be the, that would be what? That would be the going counterclockwise is sharp. So D flat minor pentatonic would be 7 flats, because D flat minor pentatonic is also C sharp minor pentatonic, and C sharp minor pentatonic is 5 sharps. So D flat minor pentatonic is 7 flats. C sharp minor pentatonic, same thing, but is also 5 sharps, and 7 and 5 make 12. Okay, so it's always the tritone, and then the half step below and the half step above, or you could call it the major seventh below and major seventh above, or whichever way you want to look at it, are the ones that intertwine. So because you have 6 and 6, 5 and 7, 5 and 7. Interestingly, with the 4s and all the others, you could also have complementary key signatures, but they would have to have double sharps and double flats in them, because you'd have to have, let's say, if E major is 4 sharps, then E is also F flat. So F flat major would have to be 8 flats. But to have 8 flats, you'd have to have one note that is a double flat. Similarly, if you have G sharp major scale, which would also be A flat major scale diatonic. A flat major diatonic is 4 flats, so G sharp major diatonic would have to have 8 sharps, and that would have to have one of the notes be a double sharp. Since double sharps and double flats are really obtuse and really weird, they're not usually used. So the only ones that interact are the 6 and 6, which is the tritone, 6 sharps, 6 flats, or 6 flats, 6 sharps. Also the major, the half step below or major seventh, half step below or major seventh above is an inharmonic version, because so like C flat and B, or C flat being the half step below and B being the major seventh above. Those are 7 and 5, and then the half step above or major sevenths down, because if you're in C, D flat is a major seventh down from C, because because it's a half step above, and if you start a half step above an octave down, that's a major seventh down. So in the case of the major seventh down or half step above, you would have C sharp would be 7 sharps, and then D flat, which is a major seventh down, would be 5 flats, and 7 and 5 make 12. So do the math. Hopefully this one, I meant everything I said in this video, and it's all what I said. I improvised it all. I didn't plan this out. In fact, I didn't practice my hands for any of these scales, so if it sounded like I don't even know how to play, I wasn't really practicing beforehand. And I wasn't getting, my fingers aren't warmed up, and I'm not trying to be in a virtuoso. I'm just trying to give a good lesson. That's really, so I covered the scales, arpeggios, and the circle of fifths. So love you guys. Rock and roll. Have a great night. Bye-bye. Love you.